Hello, everybody. Hope you had a good lunch. We were here the other day, and we were at the other auditorium most of the day. So, did you guys attend any good talks in this building? Yeah. All right. Talk more after. Well, let's get started.
Hey, I hope your day is going well. I have great news for you. Someone is interested in you. His name is Andrew. I have been talking with him for several weeks. I gave him a thorough introduction to you, step by step, taking him through your questions, pointing out themes, and doing my best to convey you Michelle as a person. He has indicated he is interested and would like to meet you. I would like to go forward in talking with you about him. Is now a good time?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Hi, my name is Andrew.
He is at a prime age, in his 30s. Tall. Andrew completed several stories. When I asked him, imagine your perfect home on the outside, again focusing on style. He chose the same answer as you. 3. Notice again his preference for modern. My advice is for you to go forward and meet Andrew. He received a similar introduction to you and said that he would like to meet you. If you are interested, I will go forward in letting him know. When would be a good time for him to call you?
Friday,
How about a good time frame?
12 to 2.
Wonderful. Thank you. I will reach out to him and let him know. Expect to hear from him at that time. I've set a reminder for you to expect the call.
My name's Kevin Teman, and I believe that finding love is the most important thing for people. And I also think that the dating industry is broken. And I've thought that for a long time. So I've sat around for a long time, actually since I was a young teenager with Match in the 1990s on AOL, and thought it wasn't doing a good job. People are becoming lonely. It's harder to meet people these days. So specifically, if you're not in the top 10% attractiveness and you don't have great luck on apps like Tinder, or you're a lone wolf by nature and you're not part of organizations like churches or something where you meet people, you could have a really hard time finding someone. So the question is, do you go out of your way to find somebody, and do you wait your whole life waiting for it to happen, like a magical moment, like in the movies? And I always go back and forth between those two. Do you actively look for it, or do you just wait for it to happen? Is society actually becoming more difficult to find somebody naturally, the natural ways of finding someone? We ask these questions all the time for people that believe that love is the most important thing in your life. And so this affected me a lot. I invested in dating apps. I put my best foot forward. I did all the official things that you're supposed to do. I even hired people to help me with my dating profile to spruce it up, and I got professional photos taken of me, which everybody does now if you're dating on dating apps. And I did everything, and I didn't have luck. So I had a lot of emotional pain from this. Not having a partner in my life has really crippled me in a lot of ways. It's been a thing that is just something fundamental that I needed. So, although I'm not struggling to make money or survive, I felt that this is a basic thing that somebody needs to really thrive in life. A partner that's a good partner by your side. So I eventually found that the unofficial ways of meeting people, like approaching them in an unconventional way, are better, they work better than the official ways, like speed dating or Tinder, those being the official ways. But if you meet somebody unconventionally, like a happenstance when you're walking by them or at work, these can create more natural environments. But I always ask, why is that the case? And I always say, just because there's an outhouse in the woods and it's a designated place to go to the bathroom doesn't mean you should go there. And so I feel the same about our designated dating platforms. Dating online is ghosting, scammers, and fake profiles, and the industry was founded on fake profiles since the beginning. A mistrust from the beginning. Since I was young, I always believe in the potential of online dating. It has the potential to change society if it's done right. But I think that a lot of dating apps are collecting data, not going into a lot of effort to help you find somebody and going through the right techniques to help facilitate a relationship. So eventually I got into human matchmaking. I started talking to some CEOs of dating companies and dating assistants. And I was referred to human matchmaking. And when I went through it, it totally changed everything for me. Completely changed my perspective because the feeling was day and night compared to a dating app. Dating apps, you make your profile, you have to search for your people. If you're a guy, you have to send a lot of messages. If you're a woman, you might receive way too many messages. But you have to figure out how to set up a date, and then you have to follow through and make it happen. And it starts based on a text conversation. In a human matchmaking service, your hand is held the whole time. They coach you, and they tell you what to do along the way. And they coach both people, and they facilitate your phone call, and they facilitate a first date for you. And then after the date is done, they follow up and share feedback across the people. So this changed everything for me. I isolated down to several techniques, which I already started explaining. So coaching, both people have the same set of instructions, and there's positive encouragement along the way. Sharing feedback across people once the date is finished helps a lot. It's the best thing about a matchmaker, because you can't ask somebody directly if things are going well and if they like you, and if some of these direct questions are hard to ascertain the information. Third parties are perfect for this. So you feel cared for and you feel important. So yeah, and this all goes along with building people up to each other, one step at a time, which is very important, which dating apps don't do. So I said, well, and then it doesn't stop there. Then it follows up to see how your dating is going and coaching you along the way and figuring out if you want to keep looking or not. So I needed to, so I'd been programming for iPhone for maybe 10 years or so, reached the pinnacle of my career and did some presentations on voice recognition, and these were successful. And I thought I could create something that emulated a human matchmaking service. So the last thing I wanted to do was create another dating app. I needed it to feel very natural. And so I'll start with a quote. I didn't set out to build AI necessarily. I set out to build something that feels human. And so emulating human matchmaker. In 2018, there was a web summit. This was like our first press exposure. Tinder founder said that in the future, Siri would act as a matchmaker. That followed with a quote saying that AIM exists and it has 1,000 users. This was our first appearance. That began a real progress. We started getting noticed a lot. And then we got into our big show, which is Robert Downey Jr.'s Age of AI, coming out in a couple months.
Of the relationships.
And so I started this
How
video
many would you consider
because I
serious
knew that
for
I had to
more
make
than
a
1 year?
video to
We
explain
were
how this
speaking
is
about
different,
golf.
because
I
all
want to
dating
talk
apps are the
seriously
same,
for a
where you
moment
touch the
about
screen and you
something
fill out your
out
profile
of
and
these.
everything.
Which would you
I
pick
needed
in an
to
attempt
convey
be
how it
romantic
talks
for
to
your
you and
partner?
how you talk to it.
What
And
about
so
other
it's
kinds of art?
such a different experience.
Who is your favorite matchmaker?
Right when we created this video, then we had this press explosion, and we had we went through all the rounds of Mashable and Fox and New York Times and those things, and titles of like Future of Online Dating, Finding Love with AI. So we really rode the AI wave, but we were also creating a new industry of dating artificial intelligence, which is still very, very new. And just a couple examples of articles. Fox.
Online dating is definitely here to stay, and I'd say that's one of the reasons that dating apps have become so lackadaisical in their efforts.
So I'm speaking on dating apps in general. I didn't set out to build AI, something like Human. Magazine, some bloggers are talking about AIM, and so this began our progress in some good exposure that we've had. And then people are talking about artificial intelligence. And I'll breeze through a couple of these, but I'm going to make the presentation available for anybody that's interested. Then we started making some billboards. We had simple designs, find love, a future of love. I'm always turned on. So my struggle is the real essence of this story, because I had so much trouble in my late 20s and early 30s finding somebody naturally. So this is what drove me to create this. Okay, a lot of pain, and I had to go into a vacuum, and I had to make this thing that was just like talking to a human matchmaker, and it felt the same because I had to make something that was better than a dating app. So I'm going to touch on why voice is a big part of it, and why I think voice is the future related to this. And I'm guessing that you guys probably know some of this stuff already. So I'm saying this is voice recognition for a purpose. So it had to feel unique. It had to feel like a human matchmaker. It had to feel trustworthy, because the dating industry is full of distrust. I believe voice is the next frontier, and I say this in all my interviews because there's no learning curve to use it. It can pull in all the older generation, or the generation that's just not as comfortable with technology, doesn't want to figure out how to use a menu, that sort of thing. And younger generation would rather use it, because we're all doing too much complicated stuff all day long with our intellectual brain, and we always strive for times where we can just do something naturally and not have to think about it. And talking is a little more primal. I think speaking is humans' preferred method of communication, meaning if you're in person with someone, you'd rather be talking to them. Speaking is primal. You have a chance to connect emotionally. And some of this can happen even with an AI. This is just like the movie Her, where the guy, Joaquin Phoenix, connects with his AI emotionally over time. This happens because you're talking, and emotion comes out when you're speaking. You don't have to think as much. But the real key with voice, and why it's great, is it's the simplicity. You're really just doing a lot more of the work for them. I'm quite sure voice interfaces will infiltrate tomorrow's technology. It'll be through, something in your ear with some augmented reality, probably a vision, but something in your ear talking to you, doing most of the work for you is the key. It's reliable because, dating apps apps in general on the phone have become buggy, and every interface is different, and every menu is different. So in our daily lives, when we're going through and trying to make plans or schedule a meeting, we have so many taps to make, and we have so many screens to figure out and so many menus. The real key with voice is that you're going to do all the work for them, and you're just going to deliver them the result and ask a couple questions along the way. But the real thing is about simplifying the process. So, remove glitches from the visual interface. I say the goal isn't voice, the goal is simplicity and enjoyment. And voice is one way to do that. It takes away the intellectual work. You want users to be in a state of enjoyment because you want them to be able to get inspired. You want them to feel the feeling of magic, just like Apple strives for in all of their products, that creates the feeling of joy when they're using it and causes them to spread the word and causes lots of good things to happen, better marketing and everything. Magic and joy. So, consumers struggle to simplify their daily lives. Mentioning earlier about how many times we tap on our screen. I think about this a lot now, like how many times we click on our mouse and how many times we touch our iPhone screen. If you were to count in a day how many times it is, it's like totally out of control.